So let me bring in the CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, thanks for being with us. Would you like to see people like Steve Mnuchin resign?
Look, it is really quite a sad day when our Treasury Secretary, instead of talking about macroeconomic issues or exchange rates, has to talk about Nazis marching through a major American city. I mean, what's really a problem is that our president has shown such a lack of moral leadership that his Secretary of the Treasury and other aides, Jewish or not, are being forced to ask themselves, do I belong here? Can I serve? Where is my moral compass? Look, at the ADL, we've been tracking hate for over 100 years. We knew that march in Charlottesville, all the experts did, was going to be the largest gathering of white supremacists in more than a decade. We knew it was going to be violent. Our hearts break for Heather Heyer and her family. What we didn't know was that the president would fail again and again and again to clearly stand with the rest of America and instead try to equivocate between white supremacists and neo-Nazis and the rest of us. That's really the issue.
So if you feel that strongly, what do you think is the solution to maybe, one, holding the president accountable for his words, and two, making some kind of progress?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, we've got to keep the pressure on. I think it's really important to push the president not only to call this out, but to take action. It's stunning to me that even in his comments on Monday, before he went off the rails on Tuesday, we didn't even have a plan of action about how do we deal with hate. Now, here's the good news, I would say. We can't wait. And so at the ADL, we can't wait. So we literally announced on Friday a partnership with over 250 mayors, Republicans and Democrats, big cities and little cities, who've signed the Mayor's Compact, a new initiative between the ADL and the U.S. Conference of Mayors.
To do what?
To help cities respond, prepare proactively to white supremacist marches. In fact, Mayor Walsh in Boston is one of our signatories, and that helped in part him prepare and be ready for the march that happened yesterday in Boston.
Do you agree with some of the people who argue if you are part of this administration, the right move would not be to resign if you are upset with the president's comments, if you reject what he said? Instead, being part of his team can help to influence his actions moving forward, influence policy and so forth?
Look, I think it's hard for me to judge Jewish staffers or non-Jewish staffers and how they make their decisions. I think they've got to wake up in the morning and say, does this map to my moral compass? Can I feel comfortable with these values? And I would say, from the ADL's point of view, that the values the president espoused on Tuesday are not American values. We believe in pluralism, we believe in tolerance, we believe in respect. And to suggest that there were fine people among the neo-Nazis who marched in those streets saying blood and soil, saying Jews will not replace us. I'll tell you what, Jews and other people, we will replace them. We will replace their indecency with decency. We'll replace their inhumanity with humanity. That
video was a punch in the gut for anybody who watched that. I could not believe my eyes. I want to ask you about Boston because you brought that up.
Yeah.
Yesterday we witnessed some 40,000 people taken to the streets, and 99.9% of them, according to the police commissioner, were there for the right reasons, fighting hatred and bigotry. The president was tweeting during this protest, and here's what he first tweeted out. This was his first tweet. Looks like many anti-police agitators in Boston. Police are looking tough and smart, thank you. And then a little bit later, I believe it was actually during the press conference or just after the press conference, he writes, I want to applaud the many protesters in Boston who are speaking out against bigotry and hate. Our country will soon come together as one. That last tweet, do you see him turning the conversation? Are we making progress?
Well, I'm glad he's catching on, because guess what? The country is coming together. You've had former presidents, Republicans and Democrat. You have members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, members of the clergy, members of the business community, even members of the armed forces. Everyone has stood together in unanimity against the values of white supremacy and for the values of pluralism and justice. That's the real face of America. So I think it's a good thing if the president comes around to it. We at the ADL and other groups, we will keep pushing and fighting on the front lines against hate and extremism.
All right, Jonathan Greenblatt, thank you very much.